I'm going to share with you a 30-day protocol to lose up to 20 pounds within a month. The best part about this protocol, you don't have to suffer, you don't have to count calories, you don't have to rely on any restrictive dieting. In fact, it will be easy. After I personally went from being physically obese at 250 pounds to losing over 80 pounds in 9 months and going from 34% body fat to 6% body fat, I cracked the code. And the cool thing about having the combination to a code, you unlock it no matter what. I tested this protocol on over 5,000 of my Keto Camp Academy students over the years. And as you can see with the photos on the screen here, it worked with great success. All walks of life from all across the world, different ages, different activity levels, every single person got significant results. And the really cool thing about this protocol, I actually outlined it in a brand new book coming out in 2025 with Hay House called Metabolic Freedom, but you're getting exclusive access to this 30-day protocol. I'm gonna reveal it all to you right here, right now. The protocol will be laid out on a week-by-week basis. Now, before I get into week 1 here, I wanna lay some ground rules. These are rules that you wanna follow throughout the entire 30 days. First, let's start with the foods we want to remove and avoid for the 30 days. These foods are inflammatory, they'll create inflammation in your body, but also cause fat gain and prevent you from burning fat. The first set of foods are called vegetable oils, also known as seed oils. I've interviewed some prominent experts on the research on vegetable oils. One of them is Dr. 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝘖. She is a New York Times best-selling author. She was the nutritionist for the Los Angeles Lakers when Kobe Bryant used to play. Yes, Kobe Bryant's former nutritionist. Her research has shown that the consumption of these vegetable oils contribute to chronic inflammation and weight gain. There are omega-6 fatty acids that are pro-inflammatory, that damage the brain, damage the body. Another gentleman I interviewed, Dr. 𝙎𝙬𝘎𝘖 𝘾𝙍𝑚, has also written a lot of research and books on the topic of these vegetable oils poisoning your mitochondria, lowering energy production, lowering your metabolism, and creating chronic disease. When I interviewed another gentleman named Brian Peskin, who's an MIT researcher, I said, Brian, which is worse for you, smoking cigarettes or eating these vegetable oils? He's an MIT researcher, so he said, let's look at the analytics, let's look at the research. He said, if someone smoked 2 packs of cigarettes every day for 28 years, the chances of them developing lung cancer within those 28 years is about 16%. That's 1/6. Then he said, compare that to somebody who consumes these cooked vegetable oils every day for 28 years, their chances of developing heart disease or cancer, he said, is 86%. I asked Dr. 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝘖 if his stats line up with hers, and she said it's actually closer to 100% disease. They stay in your body, these vegetable oils, for years. The half-life is 680 days, meaning if you stop eating them today, which you will for this protocol, 2 years later, they'll remain in your body. Now, in the protocol, I'm giving you some ways to enhance the removal of these bad fats, but first, let me give you a list. You wanna write these down, maybe take a screenshot, pause the video, pause the podcast, and make sure you get these. This is the list of the fats you want to avoid during the 30 days. We have canola oil, called rapeseed oil in the UK, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil, refined palm oil, hydrogenated oil, refined peanut oil, and fish oil. These are highly unstable. They create oxidative stress in your body. So I want you to think of me biting into an apple, and I left that apple on the counter, and I came back hours later. What would we see? We'd see that apple turn brown. You've seen that before with avocados and different foods. This is oxidation. When you consume these vegetable oils, they're oxidizing your cells, slowing down your metabolism, preventing fat burning by creating cell membrane inflammation. And when you have excessive cell membrane inflammation, your fat-burning hormones cannot do their job. They cannot get into the cell. On the topic here and how inflammatory they are, before we move on to the next item to remove, Dr. Martin Grudfeld put out a study, and he estimates that the average 5-ounce serving of French fries is equivalent to 25 tobacco cigarettes smoked in terms of something called aldehydes. When you smoke tobacco cigarettes, your body produces aldehydes in your body, cancer-causing. The same amount can be caused from French fries. So there's about 25 French fries and 5 ounces. Essentially, 1 French fry equals 1 cigarette smoked. Whoa. Now, the tricky part for these 30 days is when you're at restaurants, when you're at events, because 99% of restaurants are going to cook in these vegetable oils. I use something called a seed oil allergy card. I show this to the server. It prevents you from taking the hit. It has the bad fats, the good replacements. They show it to the chef and they accommodate. It works really well. You can get it over at seedoilcard.com or click the link down below. The next item to avoid is alcohol, at least for the next 30 days. Alcohol is a poison to your body. Every sip you take will create damage to your brain cells and it will slow your metabolism because your liver and your metabolism will prioritize getting rid of that alcohol, which is a poison, versus fat burning and other really important detoxification effects. The worst offenders out there when it comes to alcohol is beer and wine. Dr. Zach Bush, triple board medical doctor, came on my Metabolic Freedom podcast and he made the case that the average California wine has 64 herbicides in it. This is glyphosate. This is creating inflammation in the gut, ripping open your tight junctions, leading to leaky gut, fatty liver disease, and a slowed metabolism. Beer is also bad because it's very estrogenic. It'll raise estrogen in both men and women. That could slow fat loss, create fat storage, and also man boobs in men and estrogen dominance in women. If you're going to have alcohol, I don't recommend you do, but let's say you are going to have alcohol, then you want to go with clear liquors. Vodka, tequila, and whiskey would be your best options on the rocks. If you choose a wine, go with a European wine or even better, something called dry farm wines, which is an organic biodynamic wine, low in sugar, better tolerated, no pesticides. You can learn more about that wine over at ketocampwine.com. If you're gonna drink, make sure you drink a lot of water ahead of time. Take a binder, like a activated charcoal and other what's called chelation agents before you have the alcohol, and even glutathione could help as well. Some studies also suggest eating asparagus with the alcohol helps you metabolize it faster as well. Let's move on to the next list of items you want to remove. You want to avoid these synthetic ingredients that create inflammation and slow your metabolism down. That's going to be artificial sweeteners like acylsulfame potassium, aspartame, sucralose, which are found in these diet drinks. They're found in Crystal Light, diet sodas. You want to make sure you avoid them. And you also want to avoid inflammatory ingredients like saccharin, NutraSweet, any red and blue dyes, artificial colors, and flavorings. Now let's discuss the approved foods I want you to consume throughout the 30 days. When I go through your week-by-week plan, I'll let you know how much to consume, what time to consume them, and we'll lay all that out for you when we get there. But in general, these are the foods you want to consume for the 30 days. Let's talk about nuts and seeds first. That's going to be flax seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, pistachios, Brazil nuts, cashews, and pine nuts. These are all approved. For fruits and vegetables, you want to consume blueberries, strawberries, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, carrots, and cabbage, and asparagus, onion, garlic sprouts, and arugula. For healthy proteins, you want to add grass-fed beef and lamb, pasture-raised turkey and chicken, bison, pasture-raised pork, pastured eggs, charcuterie meats like salami and prosciutto, sardines, salmon, anchovies, herring, mackerel. These are all healthy fats and proteins for you. Now, the best fats to cook your food in are going to be fats that tolerate high heat. That's going to be butter, ghee, beef tallow and duck fat, coconut oil, and lard from non-hydrogenized pigs. The best fats and oils for salad dressings and dips are going to be avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil. The best sweeteners are going to be erythritol, xylitol, swerve, pure stevia, monk fruit, and allulose. And lastly, we want to also add an abundance of these bitter-rich foods which support your liver and the ability for your liver to break down fat, which we're going to increase during your plan, and to help your body detoxify. I don't know if you know this as well, your liver is a very important fat loss organ. So bitters for the liver. Here's a list of bitter-rich foods you want to incorporate. Have a few, have them all, but have them consistently to produce healthy bile, to break down the fatty acids from food, which then are assimilated, used by your cells, and increase your metabolic rate. This is going to be arugula, organic coffee, apple cider vinegar, lemons and limes, radicchio, rosemary, thyme, basil, dill, ginger, and ginger tea. In addition to that, you want to also add in milk thistle tea, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, Jerusalem artichokes, dandelion greens, saffron, sesame seeds, turmeric, grapefruit, peppermint, and green tea. Now that we have the ground rules out of the way of what to avoid and what to consume, let's get into week number 1. This is gonna start on a Monday, just to make it easy for us, and it'll end on a Sunday, and then the following Monday would be week number 2. But let's focus here on week number 1. The first step here in your protocol is to get you fat adapted. This is called the fat adaptation phase. Your metabolism essentially could only burn 2 sources of energy. Either you're burning sugar or you're burning fat. Your goal is to burn body fat. So we need to get you away from burning sugar and teach your metabolism to burn fat. 93% of Americans burn sugar. They're metabolically unhealthy and unstable. When you're stuck burning sugar, it will be difficult to burn stubborn fat. How do you know if you're a sugar burner? Well, if you answer yes to 2 of the next 5 warning signs, chances are you're a sugar burner. The first warning sign is you feel tired after eating a meal. Second one is you have skin tags. Third one is you have brown patches underneath your armpits or your neck. The fourth is you snack in between meals. And the fifth sign is that if you skip a meal, you get hangry, hungry and angry. If you said, yes, that's me to at least 2 of those, that's a red flag that you are a sugar burner. Now, of course, you can get lab work done, fasting insulin, which is a blood test. If that's over 10, you are for sure a sugar burner. The problem with being a sugar burner is that it blocks you from burning body fat. The extra fat on your body is simply stored energy, similar to this truck I'm showing you here, carrying gasoline. Compare this gasoline to your body fat stores. If your goal is to use the energy you're storing, the gasoline you're carrying essentially, you need to stop putting gas back in your truck. In other words, you need to stop raising insulin. Every time you raise insulin, you put more gas into the truck. In other words, you store body fat. When you become a fat burner, which you're gonna do in the first 7 days of this protocol here, your insulin levels lower, you make that metabolic switch to tapping into body fat for energy, and your body produces ketones. Ketones are really important for fat loss, for metabolic health, and for mitochondrial health. So the first step here is to get you fat adapted in the next 7 days. Here's how you're gonna do it. You're going to gradually lower your carbohydrates, your total carbohydrates, until by day 7, it's at 50 total grams of carbs or less. Now, the average person is consuming over 300 grams of carbs per day, and I do not recommend going from 300 grams of carbs per day to under 50 grams in just a day or 2. You wanna do a gradual decrease, so by day 7, you're under 50 grams of total carbs. That'll prevent any symptoms, any headaches, any side effects that may occur if you do it too fast. You could track that by using a free app. I use the one called Chronometer. It's free, download it over at chronometer.com/KetoCamp. It's the only macronutrient you're gonna track, and that's gonna be carbohydrates, and you can track it with that free app or any other free app out there. The second step here, you wanna hit this 2-2-2 rule every day, starting day 1 all the way to day 7, and then you could discontinue it after the first week is done. The 2-2-2 rule consists of 2 tablespoons of either butter and ghee every day, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil every day, and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil every day. What this is doing, as we strategically lower your total carbohydrates, we're gonna lower glucose and insulin. That's a good thing. We wanna teach your metabolism to switch over to burning fatty acids for fuel. So by incorporating these healthy fats with the 2-2-2 rule, it'll make that switch effortlessly, so you don't have any symptoms. So you wanna hit that. You wanna consume those fats with your meals. You wanna consume it with the foods, the oils you cook with, the salad dressings, the dips, consume it throughout the day. The next thing you wanna add here is the keto cocktail drink. You're gonna drink this for the first 7 days to replenish your electrolytes, because here's what's gonna happen. As you lower your glucose and insulin levels, your body's gonna shed a ton of excess water weight, which is wonderful. You're gonna feel lighter, look lighter, less puffy, less bloated. However, your kidneys sort of go through this diuresis process where it sheds a lot of minerals and electrolytes too, so you wanna replenish that. And the best way to do that is with the keto cocktail, which consists, do this in the morning, every morning for the first 7 days. 2 cups of water, which is 16 ounces of water. Spring water is best. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar diluted in the water. A teaspoon, or a pinch, I should say, of sea salt, and a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Mix that together, drink it, replenish the electrolytes. Now, if you don't want to drink that, then just take a high quality mineral supplement, an electrolyte supplement, just to replenish those electrolytes. You're going to consume 3 meals every day for this first week. You're gonna have breakfast, lunch, and you're going to have dinner. No snacking in between the meals, because every time you snack, you raise glucose and insulin and you put your body in a fat storage state. We don't want that. So what it's gonna look like, you can see the calendar on the screen here, Monday through Saturday. Let's give you a general template here. 8 a.m., breakfast. Then you fast until 12 p.m. You have your lunch. Then you fast until 8 p.m., dinner. That is your schedule for the first 7 days. But Ben, 8 p.m. is too late for dinner. I agree. Then have it at 6 p.m. But the goal is to have 3 meals, no snacking in between for those first 7 days. The food you eat should be gradually decreasing the carbs and focusing on protein and fat. I gave you a whole list earlier in the video and the lesson here. So eat the protein and fat and gradually lower the carbs, have 3 meals per day. By day 7, you're gonna be in a fat burning state. Now, can you have coffee and tea? I actually recommend you do have coffee in the morning because coffee is actually a really powerful agent for fat loss, but it has to be the right coffee. Let me explain that real quick. Coffee has a powerful polyphenol called chlorogenic acid, CGA. And CGA tells your body to burn fat cells for energy, for fuel. This is the same mechanism that statin drugs use to lower cholesterol without the potential side effects. CGA cuts cravings, suppresses your appetite, activates the liver's ability to produce bile. We talked about how important that is. And it aids in detoxifying your cells. Helps the liver to process fats and glucose more efficiently by lowering triglyceride levels in the blood and stabilizing blood sugar levels as well. The effect of this blood sugar balancing act decreases your risk of metabolic syndrome and diabetes while inhibiting the growth of new fat cells. Working together with the caffeine in coffee, CGA helps to reduce belly fat by increasing the number of cells that are burned for energy. This even works while you're sleeping. A Norwegian study found that women who drank high CGA coffee dropped 3 times more weight than those who consumed lower CGA brews. It needs to be the right coffee though. You want to choose a medium roast as opposed to a dark roast. Once the beans are roasted beyond medium, they've lost about 75% of their fat-blasting polyphenols. Also, you want to choose coffee grown at high altitudes that are organic, that have been tested for contaminants. I personally use and love Purity Coffee. I've been using them for years. They're clean, tested for heavy metals, medium roast, taste delicious. You can get their coffee over at KetoCampCoffee.com and use the coupon code KetoCamp to get 15% off. That covers your first week, the fat adaptation phase. Now let's shift into week number 2, which is called your autophagy phase. Why do we call it the autophagy phase? What exactly is autophagy? Autophagy is an incredible process in your body that recycles damaged cells, fixes the metabolism, allows you to burn fat, fix the gut, prevents diseases like cancer. I want you to envision a refrigerator. When you open up this refrigerator, what do you see? You see groceries inside of the refrigerator with expiration dates on them. What would happen if you let all the groceries inside of this refrigerator expire, every single one of them? And instead of throwing these expired groceries into the trash can, you kind of just shove them towards the back of the fridge, shove them in the drawers of the fridge, buy new groceries, put them in front of the old expired groceries, and you close that refrigerator door, and then you open it up later on. It's gonna be disgusting. Disease will manifest in that environment. Your human body is like this refrigerator. You have cells and proteins and mitochondria that have expiration dates on them. Autophagy is the process of getting rid of these expired groceries, these expired cells. Your metabolism and your innate intelligence is so sophisticated that when you activate autophagy, it looks for these expired groceries and it uses it for energy. It's like Pac-Man going within your cells and cleaning out the junk. Now, there are a few ways to achieve autophagy. Exercise, different foods called senolytics. Autophagy is occurring all the time, but we want to boost it to get the effect that I'm talking about here. And one of the best ways to do that is with time-restricted feeding, also called intermittent fasting. And the goal is to get into a 16-hour fast to hit a boost in autophagy. Now, you might be watching this or listening to this thinking, there's no way I could fast. I feel awful when I fast. It's too restrictive. It's going to be very difficult. It's like I'm asking you to hold your breath for 10 minutes. I get it. But guess what? Week number 1 was designed to get you fat adapted and metabolically healthier so you could actually feel great during the fast and achieve all the wonderful results that come with fasting. Now, fasting is a great way to burn fat, fix the gut, turn the brain on, give you energy, not take it away from you when you do it the right way. And by following this protocol, you're actually doing it the right way. So your fasting schedule is going to be 16 hours and your eating window is going to be 8 hours. So this is what it's going to look on your calendar, Monday through Sunday. This is week 2. I'm going to give you an example schedule here. Let's say you eat your first meal at 12 p.m. So you're gonna skip breakfast. You could still have the coffee, but you're gonna skip the breakfast, eat your first meal at 12 p.m., eat another meal, let's say at 4 p.m., and then your final meal at 8 p.m. You could have 2 or 3 meals in that eating window. It's up to you. All of your meals should consist of less than 50 total grams of carbohydrates at this point to keep you in ketosis. Protein now should be the focus. You're no longer following that 2-2-2 rule. You don't have to add the extra fats, but you want to get at least 40 grams of protein at each of those meals. That's going to hold you over and satiate you to complete the fast. Now, if you feel like it's better for you to skip dinner and have breakfast, that works too. Whatever works for your schedule. You just want to make sure you have an 8-hour eating window and a 12-hour fasting window, but for sure use your sleeping window as a fasting window. Utilize that window to make sure you have a good fast. So just one more time here before we move on to week 3, let's put the calendar back up. Monday through Sunday, you're going to fast for 16 hours, eat for 8 hours. In this example, you're eating between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m., getting at least 40 grams of protein at each of the meals, and you're not surpassing 50 total grams each day. Let's shift on and move on into week 3. Week 3 is called the metabolic fasting phase. We're going to incorporate something called metabolic fasting. This is a term that I personally coined. Metabolic fasting is where you build up that fasting muscle even more. The longer we could get into this fasting state, the more dramatically you're going to lower insulin and start burning body fat for energy. I love this example from my friend Dr. Jason Fung. I want you to envision a wallet. Whether it's pulling it out of your pocket or your purse, you pull out the wallet. We're going to compare this wallet to your sugar reserves. Your body stores energy in body fat, but also in this immediate reserves called your glycogen stores. This is stored in your liver and muscle cells. Think of that, let's compare that to your wallet. You pull out the wallet. The benefit of using your wallet or your glycogen stores is that it's easy access. You could put energy in the form of cash or calories, or take energy out in the form of cash or calories. Now, the drawback, there's limited storage capacity in the wallet and in your glycogen stores. You could only store a certain amount of cash in the wallet, and you can only store a certain amount of calories in your glycogen stores, about 2,000 calories. Once you deplete that, you're tapped out. Now, the body fat you have that you want to burn is like your bank safe. The drawback to using your bank safe or your body fat versus the wallet or your glycogen stores is that it takes longer access to get to. You got to get into the car, drive to the bank, show documentation to the teller, then you have access. But the benefit is that there's almost unlimited reserves in that bank safe and on your body fat. You have tens of thousands and probably hundreds of thousands of calories, energy on your body fat. With this metabolic fasting schedule I'm about to give you here in week 3, you get access to that bank safe, your body fat, a lot faster, where you're just burning body fat for energy. So let's pull the calendar back up for week 3 here. Monday through Sunday, you're gonna do a 20-hour fasting window and a 4-hour feeding window. Now you might have that meal between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m., 2 meals, focusing on protein, 40 grams of protein on each meal, keeping your total carbs under 50 grams per day, and getting just the fat that comes with the protein. So 12 to 4 p.m. eating window, 4 p.m. till 12 p.m. the next day, fasting window. This is a 20-hour fast, the metabolic fast. You're gonna feel so great during this fast because you just completed the first 2 weeks and you've built up that fasting muscle. Now, what if you'd like your eating window to be earlier in the day? That's actually better. You could do 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. eating window, and then fast from 12 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. That works too. The goal is just every day for week 3, these 7 days, every day, have an eating window of 4 hours, 2 meals in that window, and then fast outside of that window for 20 hours. Now we enter the final week of your protocol. This is called the metabolic flexing phase. The goal is metabolic flexibility, the ability to burn sugar, fat, oxygen, sunshine, any energy substrate that's available for energy and fat loss. And by this time, you've achieved that. So congratulations for getting to this point of the protocol. Now, we don't only want to burn fat and stay in ketosis forever. So I'm going to give you something called a metabolic flex day. That is a day that you're going to use on this Monday, the first Monday of week 4, to actually increase carbs, shift out of fat burning to sugar burning, and then shift back to fat burning. It sounds counterintuitive, but let me explain why I'm doing this. The best personal trainers in the world understand that changing the routine gets their clients results. If you've ever worked with a great fitness coach or personal trainer, they get this. 1 week, you're doing high reps and low weights. The next week is the complete opposite. You're doing high weights and low reps. The next week, The entire routine has changed on you again. Why do they keep doing this? Because it keeps the body adapting and guessing, and it gets you results. Same thing with this protocol. We don't only want to just burn fat, we want to shift into sugar and then back to fat. So you're going to do a metabolic flex day, which is enjoyable. Like, enjoy yourself, but it's not a cheat day, it's a feast day. So what is a metabolic flex day? You want to consume 3 meals on this day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Let's put the calendar up on the screen here. 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and let's say 6 p.m. You want to get about 100 to 150 of total grams of carbs and protein within those 3 meals. And you want to eat as low fat as possible in those 3 meals as well. You're going to feast it up. So the list of carbohydrates I gave you earlier are great. You could also add in white rice and other fruits into the mix. Make sure it's just whole foods you're consuming on this metabolic flex day. Once you complete that, the rest of the week here, Tuesday through Sunday, you're going to perform something called ADF, alternate day fasting. Another fantastic way to shift things up and get that metabolism blasting stubborn fat. So Tuesday, you're going to do 1 meal. This is called OMAD. You're gonna have just 1 meal hitting 40 grams of protein, less than 50 grams of carbs in that meal, and then you're gonna fast the rest of the day. That meal could be a breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's up to you. Now, the next day, you have 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're still gonna be in ketosis by keeping your total carbohydrates under 50 grams of carbs or less throughout that day of those 3 meals, hitting your 40 grams of protein at each meal. You'll have 3 meals on that day. The next day, which is gonna be Thursday, back to 1 meal. The following day, which is gonna be Friday, 3 meals, and then 1 meal, and then 3 meals. That's alternate day fasting. So you can see what it looks like on the schedule to make it easier for you. That is the protocol. Now, there are additional things you could add into the routine that'll enhance your results, and these are for the go-getter, so I'm just gonna share those with you right now. First thing is, if you could get 7,000 steps per day throughout the 30 days, you're going to get better results. Walking is how you do it, just movement, but 7,000 steps per day is the goal. So take the stairs instead of the elevator, park farther in the parking lot, find ways to get your steps, walk your dog, get 7,000 steps a day. That'll help with fat loss and inflammation. Second thing is, you want to consume, when I say protein, 40 grams of protein, I was saying that a lot. You want it to come ideally from animal-based protein, not plant protein. There's a difference. Animal-based protein is more complete. Plant protein is not. So ideally, if you could do it with animal, great. But if you do it with plant protein, you'll still get results. You also want to add, when you're metabolically adapted here, maybe after week 1, some fasted cardio in the morning. But if you could do this little trick here and have green tea, which contains catechins in it. Catechins have been shown to target belly fat. You want to get a high quality green tea like Peak Tea, I'll put a link for them down below, in the morning on an empty stomach with a tablespoon of MCT oil, which also helps with something called mitochondrial uncoupling, ketone production, and fat loss. Drink the green tea and then do a 30-minute like moderate cardio session, whether it's a walk or a jog or just a fast walk. You're gonna enhance your results as well. It's gonna really help with beta oxidation and fat burning. One more suggestion here, and then I'm gonna answer some questions that you probably are thinking about right now. You could add a supplement that I use called Radical Metabolizer, which contains 4 ingredients that have been proven to burn fat and increase metabolic rate. First ingredient is African mango, which promotes weight loss, especially around your waist and hips. Second ingredient is raspberry ketones, which help with a fat burning hormone called adiponectin. Third ingredient is L-carnitine, which gives energy to your mitochondria. And the fourth ingredient is green tea. As I mentioned, it has E, C, G, C, and catechins, which help with belly fat. You could buy those ingredients separately and just have them every single day during your protocol, or you could take the supplement, and I have a link and a code for you, so I'll put that down below in the notes as well. Now, you don't have to take the supplement, you don't have to do those additional tips there to get results, but if you wanted to be a go-getter and do it all, you'll get faster results with that. A couple things to consider here is you want to really master stress and focus on quality sleep. You burn fat during sleep, you recover, you restore, you activate your glymphatic system, which cleans out the junk of your brain and your body during the night. So make sure you're getting quality sleep. Sleep is foundational. Make sure you're mastering your stress. And make sure you're taking this supplement, and this is a free supplement you could get anywhere, that lowers inflammation, lowers blood sugar levels, lowers blood pressure levels, turns on your brain, and allows your body to produce oxytocin, GABA, dopamine, these feel-good chemicals and hormones, buffers stress and cortisol, helps you burn fat. It's called vitamin G. Vitamin G is gratitude. You can see it here on my shirt. I don't have a code, I don't have a link, it's free, there's no upper limit. This is not a joke. When you feel gratitude, you put your body in a healing, anti-inflammatory state. So every morning, write down 10 things you're grateful for. Get your daily dose of vitamin G. Keep in mind that gratitude is not an intellectual exercise, it's an emotional exercise. You want to feel that gratitude. Do it and you'll get great results. I'm going to answer some questions now that are commonly asked when I give this protocol to people all across the world. First question is, Ben, I'm concerned that I will feel hungry and tired during my fast. What should I do if I get hungry? What should I do if I get tired? Well, I explained, the way that I built this out for you is that we're not practicing much fasting until you're fat adapted. So you're not gonna feel tired, you're gonna feel more energized. If you get hungry, I want you to know this is normal. There's a hormone in your body called ghrelin. Think of ghrelin as a gremlin. It shows up, you're not enjoying it when it's in your company, it makes your stomach growl. But the cool thing about all hormones, including ghrelin, is that all hormones are pulsatile. They spike, they go down, they spike, they go down. So if you just keep yourself busy and distracted after 10 or 15 minutes, maybe go for that walk and get those steps. By the time you come back from the walk, the ghrelin hormone would drop down, hunger is gone. Now, another little tip for you for hunger, take a tablespoon of coconut oil and consume that during your fast. Doesn't break a fast, and it should also help with the hunger. Second question I always get is, can I have coffee and tea during my fasting window? For the purpose of this protocol, we're gonna say yes, it'll enhance fat loss, go for it. If you really wanna know if it's breaking a fast, and my definition of breaking a fast is when you raise glucose and lose some of the autophagy benefits. If you really want to know if it's doing that, you want to test your blood glucose right before the coffee and then 45 minutes after. Now, tea is safe. Coffee, for some people, can spike glucose. If you see that glucose go up 5 points or higher 45 minutes after testing, yeah, it is breaking some of the autophagy and some of the fasting benefits. I wouldn't really concern yourself too much with it, but if you're somebody who wants to make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, you can get a machine like Keto Mojo over at ketocampmachine.com to test your blood sugar and to see what it's doing to your blood sugar levels. Tea, as I mentioned, is safe. Next question is, am I allowed to take supplements during a fast? The answer is yes. However, you don't necessarily want to take the following supplements during a fast. Not because it's going to break your fast, but because it's pretty much not going to be useful. And here's why. You don't want to take any supplements that have fat-soluble vitamins in them on an empty stomach. That's vitamins A, D, E, and K. Fat-soluble vitamins need to be eaten with a meal to help with the absorption of those vitamins. And for some people, when they take them on an empty stomach, they feel nauseous. I don't recommend as well antioxidant supplements, resveratrol and turmeric and these antioxidants during a fast, because it might block your innate intelligence from really achieving max autophagy and doing some deep healing. Have that with your meals as well. Other supplements are fine. Minerals, magnesium, potassium, go for it. Next question is, are there any tools I can use to track my progress? I would say, step on that scale day 1 of your protocol and don't step on that scale again until day 30. I know that sounds crazy and it's very difficult to do for a lot of people, but the weight's gonna fluctuate. But overall, after the 30 days, you're gonna see it's going to drop, and you could, as I said, up to 20 pounds I've seen of fat loss by day 30. You might wanna track body fat as well. Good idea. There's different scales you could do for that. You could get different metrics done, like blood work, fasting insulin, A1C, inflammatory markers. That's up to you. But I would say, in general, day 1, get your starting weight. Day 30, get your finishing weight. And then I want you to come back here. If you're watching on YouTube and not listening on the podcast, come back to the YouTube video and post your results. I want to hear about your amazing results. Next question is, what should I do if I get symptoms and feel off during this protocol? Most people will not feel off and not have symptoms. If you get something like loose stools and diarrhea, increasing those bitter-rich foods I spoke about will fix that. You could also take a digestive enzyme that has something in it called ox bile and HCl. That'll help with digestion. If you feel like your energy levels are dropping, which is not common, but it might happen, increase your electrolytes, increase your minerals, and that should solve it. And make sure you got the foundations down pat, the sleep, the stress, the movement. Next question is, Ben, I have a lot of digestive issues, acid reflux, bloating. Will fasting help to fix this? Absolutely. Fasting is one of the best ways to fix the gut. The analogy I always give people is this. Sandra, the corporate worker. Sandra clocks in at her 9 to 5 corporate job, and she puts in 8 hours of hard work. and it's 5 p.m. She's exhausted. She just put in 8 hours of work. So imagine Sandra walking to her car, getting ready to go into her car and drive home and relax. And as soon as she enters her vehicle, her phone rings. She picks it up and it's her boss. Hey, Sandra, we need you to come back in for a project. We just got this new project. We need you to come back in for a few hours. So, reluctantly so, Sandra walks back to her office, puts in another 5 hours of work. It's now 10 p.m. at night. She's exhausted, ready to go home and crash. Going back to her car, same phone call. Sandra, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we have another project. Come back into the office. Now imagine this happening to Sandra over and over and over again. This is exactly what we've been doing to our digestive system when we eat too frequently, when we don't practice fasting. We just keep giving our digestive system project after project. Fasting gives Sandra a month off of work and allows her to just recover. Fasting gives your digestive system a complete reset. So you could actually see if you're dealing with acid reflux and bloating, that could be completely gone by day 30 of this protocol, if not even sooner. Next question I get asked is, Ben, all my friends, all my family members, that fitness pro on TikTok tells me if I fast, it's gonna slow down my metabolism. Well, here's the thing. The metabolism doesn't necessarily work in speeds. It's either efficient or inefficient. But we have seen in studies that after 4 consecutive days of fasting, the metabolism becomes more efficient, 13% increase in the efficiency. This is because when you're in a fasted state and you do it the right way, the way I'm teaching it you here in the protocol, then your body, your metabolism raises something called counter-regulatory hormones. As insulin drops during your fast, these hormones run counter to insulin. That's why they're called counter-regulatory hormones. It's your sympathetic tone. Cortisol, human growth hormone, adrenaline. This is your body's way of increasing your efficiency of your metabolism, because your metabolism and your innate intelligence doesn't know you're watching a video or listening to my podcast and fasting because you're inspired to do so. It thinks you're going through a famine. Your cells and your metabolism is hardwired for the old school. It doesn't know that I could click on my phone, go to the Uber Eats or DoorDash app and have somebody knocking on my door in 45 minutes with food, or walk to my kitchen and get food. It doesn't know this. We're hardwired for the old school. So it automatically goes into this state of alertness, increase in metabolic rate, increase in efficiency, increase in these counter-regulatory hormones. So it will not slow your metabolism. It'll make it more efficient and you'll have more energy at the same time. Next question I get on fasting is, will I lose muscle if I fast? Will I lose muscle with this protocol? The answer is no, because number one, during a fast, I already mentioned it, but your body raises human growth hormone, preserves muscle, builds muscle. And when you get the 40 grams of protein, as I outlined for you, you create protein synthesis, where you build muscle back up. All the research out there showing that you lose muscle during a fast shows muscle volume, not actual muscle protein. What's the difference? Muscle volume is fiber and water. Muscle protein is what we want to preserve. You don't lose that. You actually could build healthy muscle during the protocol. Next question I get asked is, can I do strength training and other workouts with the protocol? The answer is yes. It'll actually enhance your results. Do it at your schedule that you usually do it. You're gonna feel more energized, especially if you do it in a fasted state. You'll get more results. Like when you go into a workout in a fasted state, you put your body fat at the front of this metabolic bus to be burned for energy first, versus going into a workout having consumed a protein shake or a banana. You're putting the calories from the food at the front of the metabolic bus, where your metabolism has to burn the food first and then back to your body fat. So without the food, it starts with your body fat. You actually enhance your fat burning and your results with this 30-day protocol. Next question is, how do I find those grass-fed organic meats and seafood you spoke about? I can't really afford it, or I can't find it available at the supermarket. I know a resource that's called Wild Pastures, and it's really affordable. They deliver it right to your door. They support regenerative organic farming, and they have grass-fed and finished beef, grass-fed and finished lamb. They have wild-caught seafood, pastured pork, and they deliver it right to your door. And we have a special deal for you. If you go to ketocampmeat.com, you could go ahead and get a special deal, a discount, and some free gifts from Wild Pastures. Next question is, for my protein, can I have a protein shake? The answer is yes, but I'm not a fan of all protein shakes. A lot of the protein shakes out there are filled with the synthetic ingredients I outlined earlier to avoid. And also, whey protein is very insulinogenic, so I'm not a fan of whey protein in general. The protein powder that I use and recommend is from Equip Foods. They use beef protein isolate, and it's 100% grass-fed and grass-finished. no artificial sweeteners, tested for contaminants, tastes delicious, all the amino acids and complete protein that you need for protein synthesis. So yes, you could supplement with a high quality protein shake like Prime Protein from Equip Foods. If you go to equipfoods.com/BenAzadi, you could actually get 20% off your Equip Foods protein in any of their products. We'll put links for everything we mentioned down below. Look, if you loved the video that I outlined today, I think you're gonna love this recent video I published on how I personally lost 80 pounds of fat in 9 months, where I laid out my entire story in an interview.
Most people hear keto and they think of it as a weight loss diet. And while it can be that, it's so much more than that. And actually, technically, it's not even a diet, it's a metabolic process. So our ancestors all went through ketosis. They all did ketosis, and I'll explain what that means, but there's nothing new about keto.